Welcome to our channel. Today, we're exploring creepy stories that are based on true events. Sit back and get ready to hear these fascinating stories. In the late 1990s, a woman named Sarah moved into a new apartment in a bustling city. The apartment was old and creaky, but it had character and charm that she found endearing. She was excited to start her new life in the city and was looking forward to all the opportunities it offered. At first, everything seems normal, but soon after Sarah moved in, she started experiencing strange occurrences. She would hear footsteps in the hallway at night, but when she opened the door, there was nobody there. She would wake up in the middle of the night to see a dark, shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed, staring at her with glowing eyes. At first, Sarah tried to brush it off as her imagination, but as time went on, sightings became more and more frequent. The shadowy figure seems to be getting bolder, appearing not only at night, but also during the day. Sarah started feeling like she was being watched all the time, even when she was alone in her apartment. She talks to a friend about what was happening, but they didn't take her seriously. Sarah tried to ignore the figure, went about her daily routine, hoping that it would go away. But the sightings continued and became more and more intense. The shadowy figure seems to be getting closer and closer, as if wanting to harm her. Sarah became increasingly frightened and knew she has to do something to get over with this. She started doing research and discovered that what she was experiencing was a shadow person, a dark, ominous entity that is said to be harbinger of death or destruction. She tried smudging her apartment with sage, but it didn't seem to have any effect. She consulted with a psychic who told her that the shadow person was a malevolent entity that had attached itself to her. The psychic said that the shadow person was feeding off of Sarah's fear, and it would continue to do so until she was no longer afraid. Desperate for a solution, Sarah reached out to a group of paranormal investigators. They came to her apartment and set up cameras and recording devices to capture any evidence of paranormal activity. The first night they were there, they captured footage of the shadowy figure moving across the room, but it disappeared as soon as they tried to approach it. The investigators determined that the shadow person was not just a figment of Sarah's imagination, but a real entity that was feeding off of her energy. They conducted a cleansing ritual, and after several weeks of intense spiritual work, the shadow person finally disappeared. Sarah was relieved and grateful to be free of the entity, but she still felt uneasy in her apartment. She eventually moved out and started over in a new home. To this day, She still gets chills thinking about her encounter with the shadow person and the terror it was brought into her life. Today, we're exploring a creepy legend that has been told for generations. It is the story of the vanishing hitchhiker, a ghostly figure who appears on lonely roads seeking a ride home. This is a tale that has been passed down through the ages, and it continues to captivate and terrify those who hear it. So buckle up and get ready to hear the chilling story of the vanishing hitchhiker. It was a cold and rainy night, and I was driving home from a late shift at work. As I drove down a deserted stretch of road, I saw a figure walking along the side of the road. It was a young woman dressed in a white dress with long dark hair. She looked cold and wet, and I felt a sense of compassion for her. I pulled over and asked if she needed a ride. She accepted and got into the passenger seat of my car. She was quiet at first, and I could tell that she was upset. I asked if she was okay, but she didn't answer. We drove in silence for a few minutes until she suddenly spoke up. She asked if I could drop her off at a nearby cemetery. I was taken aback by their request, but I agreed. As we approached the cemetery gates, she disappeared from the car. There was no sound of a door opening or closing, and no sign of her anywhere. She had vanished into the thin air. Honestly, I was feeling confused and scared, wondering what had just happened. It wasn't until I did some research that I discovered the legend of the vanishing hitchhiker. It's a story that has been told for generations, with variations in different cultures and regions. The basic tale involves a ghostly figure who appears on a lonely road seeking a ride home. They usually appear as a young woman, often wearing a white dress or gown. They may seem sad or distressed and may even ask to be taken to a cemetery or other location. But once they reach their destination, they vanish into the thin air, leaving their driver feeling confused and scared. The legend has been told in many different forms, but the basic idea remains the same. The vanishing hitchhiker is a ghostly figure who haunts lonely roads, seeking a way back home. The legend of the vanishing hitchhiker may just be a story, but it continues to captivate and terrify those who hear it. Whether it's a ghostly figure or a figment of our imagination, the idea of encountering a vanishing hitchhiker on a dark and lonely road is enough to make anyone's skin crawl. But what if I told you that there are other ghostly legends out there waiting to be discovered? What if I told you that our channel has more chilling tales of haunting places, ghostly apparitions, and supernatural encounters. If you want to hear more stories like this one, then subscribe to our channel and join us on a journey into the unknown. Thank you for watching.